We're Dennis and Liz, full-time RVers who are exploring North America in our renovated Class C RV. 2 weeks ago, we crossed the U.S.-Mexico border, driving as quickly as we could to the state of Michoacan, in hopes to experience one of Mexico's most famous and important holidays, Dia de Muertos.
It's very powerful. Like, I can feel what's happening here.
Such a beautiful way to celebrate. Buenos dias! Today is Dia de Muertos, and this is pretty much the entire reason that we rushed to Mexico and have driven 1,400 miles in just 8 days, was to get to Patzcuaro, the most traditional place that is known for the origination of Dia de Muertos and one of the best places in all of Mexico to experience this special occasion.
So in the town of Patzcuaro, there's a dock where you can hop on a boat and then travel to an island in the middle of the lake that is actually where they believe the tradition of Dia de Muertos started, which is called Janitzio Island. It's closed right now, and I'm kind of glad it is because I've seen pictures of that place. It's a very tiny island with a very small cemetery with very traditional people living there trying to practice their beliefs. And it gets inundated with tourists. Like, I cannot believe that these people even still practice or try to practice what they do. It's not an enjoying looking experience for the locals. Like, yes, it's beautiful for pictures and tourists, but they need a break. And I'm glad they're getting one.
So if you are coming here post-COVID, Janitzio is probably one of the top destinations that you want to visit, but there are 3 other islands in Lake Patzcuaro that you can come to, and Patzcuaro itself is a really famous place to enjoy Dia de Muertos. So this is going to be a very different year than usual. There's normally huge festivities. There's boats going 24 hours to and from the islands. People are partying until all hours of the night. There's lots of drinking, eating, and music. It's like New Year's on steroids, or the biggest Halloween party you've ever experienced.
For 2 days.
Yes.
Straight.
So we're going to be showing you around and telling you a little bit more about this experience, but I am so excited to be here, and I'm already loving seeing some of the alteras.
We're really just going to try to experience all that we can of the festivities that are happening.
We're going to go into town and try and see the square all decorated there, and there is one Pantheon that's about 15 minutes from where we're staying in our RV park that is open, that we can go to until 10 p.m. tonight. So I'm excited about that.
All right, well, we only have a few hours of daylight left, so let's get moving.
We made it to the city center. Even though there's way less people than normal, there's still a lot of people here. Parking was extremely difficult. I can't even imagine in full effect what this place would be like on a normal Dia de Muertos.
It would
be insane.
we wouldn't be here. It would be that many people.
But it's so beautiful. There's all of the entrances to the buildings are decorated with the marigolds and the different flowers. They are testing everyone's temperature to enter, and they're giving everyone hand sanitizer, and masks are required. So there's also tons of food vendors, so we'll probably be getting some food after this.
After filling up on some food, we drove to the nearest Pantheon, or cemetery, to witness the beautiful decorations or alteras made on each gravesite to celebrate the afterlife of the loved one and reconnect with them here on the physical plane. The Pantheon was closed to the public because of the current pandemic, but we were still able to see the families sitting and celebrating near their family or friends' graves as they lit candles to help guide the spirits back to earth for the night.
Today is day 2 of Dia de Muertos, and it might be hard to hear me because we came to a new town that has very lively celebrations. We came to Tzintzuntzan, which is about a 20-minute drive from Patzcuaro, and is another really wonderful place to experience Dia de Muertos. And their Pantheon is beautiful. So day 2 is for adults, and we're gonna show you a little bit around this gorgeous Pantheon, and hopefully partake in a little bit of their festivities with the music over there. It's so fun.
The tradition of Dia de los Muertos dates back to pre-Hispanic times. Celebrated on the 31st of October through the 2nd of November, Dia de los Muertos today has a mix of both indigenous and Spanish influences.
Altar designs of all shapes and sizes are handcrafted for each grave to place offerings or ofrendas, gifts to enrich the afterlife and welcome loved ones back. It's traditional to decorate an altar with the deceased's favorite food and drink, toys, or pictures in addition to candles and flowers.
The candles are meant to help light the way back for the dead, and each flower used on the ofrendas carries a special meaning. Marigolds, which have a bright yellow or orange color, are the most popular flower used to decorate the altaras, and their sweet fragrance is believed to attract the souls to the altar. The red hue of the coxcomb is supposed to represent the blood of Christ, while the white of the chrysanthemums or baby's breath symbolizes peace, beauty, and sympathy.
Dia de Muertos isn't viewed as a sad holiday. It's a sacred celebration when families gather together and connect with those that have passed on. We saw families throughout the Pantheon relaxing and chatting by the graves, dancing, drinking, and listening to music. We felt very humbled to be able to witness this powerful and important holiday that carries such deep cultural importance for the Mexican people.
One thing we've been looking forward to trying since we went to Ambulante is the Pan de Muerto,
which is the Day of the Dead bread. It's a special bread that they only make during the season for about 2 weeks before Dia de Muertos, and then after November 2nd, they stop. And typically bakeries will use a special type of flour and recipe for their bread. It's like a sweet bread made with a little bit of orange or anise. Since Dia de Muertos really dates back all the way to the Aztec time, they used to do sacrifices to their deity of death around this time every year. And when the Spanish arrived, they said no for human sacrifices. So they started sacrificing bread. So this is supposed to represent
sacrificing bread.
Yeah, this is like, that's why you'll see, you'll even see pan, or Dia de Muertos, or the Pan de Muertos on some of the graves, because they're technically giving like that as a sacrifice for the bodies for the deity. And yeah, so this is supposed to be technically in the shape of a skull, and then the things on top are supposed to represent a bone. Mmm. It's nice. I get a lot of anise.
Like instantly I get the citrus flavor, but then the anise follows, yeah.
What a nice treat. We're thankful we get to try this before it goes away.
For sure.
Most of the time it has sugar on top. We ended up getting a healthy version because you guys probably know us. That's our spiel.
Our thing.
Our thing. It's good though. I think it's safe to say that Dia de Muertos was a success. It was definitely worth all of the rushing and long drives to get here in time to experience. It really was, to me, like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see this. I know we can always come back in the future,
right?
But this year was different.
Yeah, this year it was way less crowded because of COVID restrictions. And honestly, I think it made the experience a little more enjoyable. Like, the streets weren't packed with thousands of people. It made it feel more like an intimate local vibe instead of just a giant street fiesta.
The only thing we wish we could change, after coming here and exploring, so many of the locals said that people advertise Dia de Muertos being November 1st and 2nd, but in Mexico here, they actually celebrate on the 31st and the 1st. So we went out on one of the correct days and kind of missed a big day of the commencing of the celebrations. So if you're coming, make sure that you actually give yourself time to explore on the 31st and 1st. You can definitely still go to the Pantheones throughout Mexico and see all of the beautiful decorations on the 2nd, but they're not going to have celebrations all through town like you might hope or expect.
Right.
And if you are coming, Patzcuaro is a great place to kind of like find a hotel or stay. There's tons of RV parks. This is a beautiful one to stay at if you're coming in your RV. But I definitely suggest visiting the towns outside of here. All of the small villages that are next to the Lake Patzcuaro are known for having the really traditional practices, and Tzintzuntzan in particular is known for having one of the best celebrations in the area. So Janitzio is a really great place to see. Hopefully when you come, there's no COVID restrictions and you can go to the island, but don't forget about the other little neighboring villages that might give you a less crowded, more authentic vibe. But even though Dia de Muertos is over, we're still going to explore this area. We're in Patzcuaro for a week total, so we're going to go back to the island of Janitzio now that it is opened and explore a little. So we're excited to take you with us.
Let's do it.
We made it to the town of Janitzio. It was only about a 25-minute boat ride, which cost 100 pesos per person. And it was a really relaxing little treat to slowly come up to the island with the statue. This is a Pueblo Mágico, and I can see why.
On its own, right?
Yes.
The island is a Pueblo Mágico.
Wow. And it's beautiful. I mean, there's like all of these bright colors, lots of artisanal shops where you can buy souvenirs, things like that. They have micheladas and cervezas and shots all over the place.
Plenty of that.
So you can browse and have a little drink while you're at it. But right now we are walking up to the statue that's at the top of the island, because you can actually go inside up a spiral staircase to the very tippy top. And I'm sure there's really great views. We made it to the top.
It's like right where her sleeve ends before her hand.
It's pretty impressive.
It's still really cool.
Definitely a fun activity to do. There's only 10 paces to get in, so.
Totally worth it.
Yeah. We made it to the Pantheon. It's not very decorated right now. You can definitely still see all of the marigolds, but I don't think it is all of its glory.
No, a lot of the larger altars, you can, like, as we were walking around, you can see them inside of the tiendas of the locals that actually live here. So I think the large displays didn't make it to the Pantheon this year.
Also, it's just amazing to me how everyone here hustles. Like, you're gonna get hustled. Like, we just had a guy tell us all of his history, and then at the end, of course, he's like, "Una propina, tip," and we're like, okay.
Okay, fine.
Of course.
But the thing is, like, we didn't even ask. He just started rattling all these facts off.
Yeah, you don't get to
and
ask.
You're just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna listen to you.
And then they ask for money.
Give you some money at the end of it.
It's like 75 cents, so it's not a big deal. But it's amazing how much they hustle here.
Oh, yeah. If you've seen Coco, the Disney movie based on the Dia de Muertos holiday, Mama Coco lives here in Michoacan somewhere. We don't know if she lives actually in the town of Tzintzuntzan or if she lives on Janitzio Island, but she's apparently 106 years old and she is alive and well, and she usually welcomes you into her house on the holiday.
On Dia de Muertos, which is pretty cool. I think we're gonna hop back on the ferry, head back home before it gets too cold, which, by the way, if you plan to come here in October, be prepared for beautiful days, 70 degrees sunny with a slight breeze, but at night it gets really cold, like lows in the 40s to upper 30s, so be prepared for chilly weather.
For sure. Ollie the Adventure Cat. Dun, 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 dun.
Just chillaxing outside. Princessa.
Feels really good to be in a spot for a long period of time. We just have been waking up and kind of doing whatever we wanted. If we have a chill day, that's totally acceptable because we don't have to move mañana.
Tomorrow. We don't have to move and drive 6 hours tomorrow morning.
Yes. I'm very excited about being able to slow down some. The campsite that we are at is beautiful and so peaceful. It's a hotel and RV park that's pretty close to the city center of Patzcuaro. They have like weekly rates and nightly rates. There's typically a pool that's open. The Wi-Fi has been great. Water dump, electricity at every spot, and it's just a really nice place to explore this area. We've ended up meeting a fellow RVer couple from Brazil that were so sweet. And then we also met tent campers that are biking
cycling.
Started in the United States, pretty much like a few days before the pandemic really broke out, which is crazy. But they ended up biking all the way through the United States, and then they flew down to Mexico, and now they are biking through Mexico before going back to Europe. They're from the UK and Spain, and last night we had dinner with them, and it's just been really, really fun to get to know them.
Hey.
Okay.
Adios.
Bye, you little lovebirds.
And just chill and
make like-minded friends on the road, have connections for our Euro trip.
hint, hint, a future trip, future plans.
See you in Spain.
Adios.
Adios.
Hasta pronto.
So after we picked up our laundry today in Patzcuaro, we decided to hop on the scooter and head back into Tzintzuntzan because we didn't get to explore that much the first time we were here. We tried to go to the archaeological zone, but it's closed because of COVID, and we kind of believe that might be the case for all the archaeological zones across Mexico. I hope not, because I really want to see Tzintzuntzan when we get to the Yucatan.
Yeah, that's like a huge thing for us in exploring Mexico, is being able to explore the native and ancient side of this beautiful country. And if you are coming in the future, we definitely suggest trying to go to the archaeological zone. It's supposed to be a really unique one because of the shape and the formations of the pyramids. So definitely put it on your bucket list if you're coming to this area. It's well worth a visit. So instead we decided to walk across the street. There's a covenant.
It's literally down the street, like a block away from the pyramid. There's a church and an ex-convent.
So this was actually built, and monks lived here about 400 to 500 years ago, just after the Spanish arrived. This was originally the capital for Michoacan, for the Purépecha, and I really hope I'm saying that correct, but for the Purépecha people.
Just like all of the other churches and convents that we've seen in Mexico, they have torn down quite a few of the pyramids from the ancient peoples to construct the churches and the convents. This is a very typical thing because when the Spaniards came over, they were trying to convert all of the natives to Catholicism.
Normally you'd actually be able to go into the monks' rooms in the convent, but right now I think they are closed from COVID. There is a museum here for you to learn more if you're interested, but still really beautiful grounds for sure. There's olive trees that they planted when they first arrived that are like 400 to 500 years old that are massive, so those are really cool. So I think we're just gonna walk around a little, maybe browse some of the artisan shops, and then we're gonna go back over to Patzcuaro since there's not too much we can explore over here.
We decided to finish our time in Patzcuaro by hopping on a colectivo and treating ourselves to a meal at one of Patzcuaro's best restaurants, Santo Huacal. Our 5-course tasting menu was just 380 pesos and was seriously so delicious.
Well, my friends, this is the end of Patzcuaro. We are officially leaving today to head a whopping 45 minutes to Morelia, one of the bigger, more historic cities in Michoacan.
One of the bigger, more historic colonial cities.
Valid, colonial cities, but it'll be beautiful.
The first week was super stressful because we were moving so fast, but this was totally worth it.
And it was so good to reset and explore just our slow style. That's how we like it. We hope you enjoyed the video just as much as we enjoyed sharing this all with you. If you did like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for?
Do it! It's totally free for you. All you gotta do is click the button.
And you get to be taken away to new cultures and new experiences. Even if you're not traveling right now, we can help you travel with us.
Bring you with us.
Yeah. So we have much more exciting things to come. We'll see you next week.
In the town of Patzcuaro, there's actually a barcadero.
Yeah. Muy bien.
Getting good at this. Getting good at this. So in the town of
We'll have to
Patzcuaro.
sneeze. So we might hop on a boat later just to try and see all of the different Pantheons.
¿Qué? Patzcuaro, Michoacán, chocaron 2 perros de frente.
¿Y qué pasó?
7 pulgas muertas, 14 pulgas heridas.
Entre otras noticias,
¿Qué pasó?
científicos de la UNAM ya descubrieron que para que no te dé coronavirus debes de comer sin